please, you didn't have to. Please. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to. That's awkward. Everybody sit down. Everybody sit down. Hey, what's up, everybody? Andrew Wall here, host and executive producer at Illuvium, and welcome to IlluviTalks, the show where we lead the conversation about blockchain and gaming. And this episode couldn't be better or more on point because we've got the top 20 blockchain games that we are covering in this episode. And we're going to talk about the cutting edge of gaming, deep insights from maybe the most detailed research report from Cointelegraph ever, detailing everything there is to know about the blockchain gaming industry. I've got a panel of experts to analyze that, and a mega massive groundbreaking partnership or nothing burger. Polygon and IMX partner up. Does this actually matter for our industry? We will discuss. But before we do, it's important that everyone understand this is not financial advice, legal advice, relationships advice, any type of advice of any description. This show is just for entertainment purposes with people that genuinely care about gaming and the blockchain space, just sharing their thoughts because we love it. Who are these such geniuses? Well, first, we have Thulki, Illuvium community moderator on the show. Thulki, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man? Glad to be here. Always usually on the other end of the show, so thanks for the invite.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'd love to have your perspective since you chug thousands and thousands of people's comments every single day about this space. I can't wait to get your insights as somebody who basically has to listen to the crowd all day long. It's going to be really fascinating to get that. And then, of course, we've got Icy, founder of Web3 Gamer, a media outlet covering Web3 gaming news and hopefully another award show. Invite me to Miami, please, please, please. Icy in the house.
Hey, thank you so much, Andrew, for having me. I'm super excited to be on the panel today.
Indeed, and he's honestly, look at this guy's background. He's the most decorated person in Web3. It's like if you run the Oscars, you can just put Oscars in your office. So that's what he's done. Congratulations.
Yeah, I do need to mail these out to the winners, so I apologize, guys. Your trophies are coming.
So messed up. I got mine right back here. Thank you very much. Well, I guess the people voted or whatever. Okay, and our next guest, Big Brain Charles Jansen, they call him, head of DeFi transformation at S&P Global. They don't call him Big Brain. I do. Here he is. Here's Charles on the show. What's up, buddy?
Hey, good to be here again.
See, his brain is so huge. He's got so many amazing thoughts to share with us today. And it's the top 20 games, blockchain games report that I want to talk about with you guys first, if you don't mind. And so this report, go check it out. It's by Cointelegraph Research. You can download their report. I think they collect some of your juicy data. But basically in this report, I've got a few highlights that I want to share with all of you. But in this report, which is extremely detailed, it's like a 50-page report with all the top games, all the research, etc. But in this report, there's a couple interesting things. Let me share a couple facts with you guys. I always promise you can learn something new on every episode. Did you know gaming makes up 49% of all blockchain transactions in 2022. I found that to be shocking. I didn't think it was that high. Did you know there are already 2,000 blockchain games out there? What are these games even? $7.6 billion has been invested into blockchain gaming in 2022, and daily average users increased by 60% from 2021. Even in this bear market, everybody said it was dead. Well, it actually went up, which was shocking, and a daily average of 1.13 million unique wallets were connected to top gaming dApps in 2022. So let's go in and get into the discussion topic. There is Web 2 gaming versus Web 3 gaming slide here that I really wanted to get everyone's thoughts on. And this slide basically shows in the center the new era of gaming, guys. We've got traditional games over here on the left, Age of Empires, Club Penguin, World of Warcraft, Grand Theft Auto. And over on the right, you've got the new world of games, Alien Worlds, Axie Infinity, Illuvium, DeFi Land, you name it. And there's this convergence in the center of this diagram that supposedly is going to happen in the future. I want to go around the panel here to get your thoughts on whether this is the right way to tee this up. Do you see a melding of the games on the left, melding with the games on the right? Or do you see there being a break and maybe a disruptive moment in the industry? I'm going to kick it over to Charles on this one first. What are your thoughts here? Are we all just going to get along and be a part of this new era of gaming? Is there going to be significant disruption?
I think it's really depend how long you're looking. So I think in the short term, every like traditional studio will try to get in. We saw that Squaresoft is looking into NFT. Like everybody's kind of looking in NFT. Now, I'm not sure they'll be willing to do what game like Illuvium are willing to do, which is once you own the Illuvial, you'll be able to use it in every game. So I think they'll definitely surf on the NFT wave and try to sell you assets, but they might not have the same possibility that you would have with Web3 native game, where there's this idea of interoperability, and once you own Pikachu, you own Pikachu everywhere. You don't need to buy it anywhere else.
Got it. Interesting comment here that I think covers the sentiment for a lot of people, saying, I want GTA in Web3. You know, this is a user, crypto gaming, that wants to own their items maybe, or their different things that they have in Grand Theft Auto franchise actually on their wallet. So Icy, let me ask you, do you see these two spaces just kind of coming together and it's just going to all work out here, guys? Or do you see a disruptive moment where the industry breaks off of the traditional franchises and then moves into, I don't know, maybe some of these new ones over here? What are your thoughts, Icy?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly see the disruptive moment, right? And we're kind of like the first ones over the hill, testing out this new technology, building on this new blockchain infrastructure. But I certainly see it eventually melding together once we kind of prove the use case and the value proposition. I certainly see a bunch of Web 2 titles incorporating blockchain tech, adopting Web3, digital assets, digital ownership, digital collectibles. You're seeing that already. PlayStation filing a bunch of, patents around digital collectibles and things like that. So I think it's unfortunate that, we're going to have to pave the way, and then all these, legacy titles and companies can just come in and be like, oh, hey, we're doing Web3 now. While, in the beginning they were, naysayers and not supporting the space. But it's definitely a disruption for sure. But eventually, first, what's the quote? First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then they adopt you and you win. So I think that's what's going on.
Got it. Thulke, you have to chug a fire hose of information every day from the Illuvium community. What are you hearing ear on the ground here? Are people really wanting the traditional titles to become Web3, or do they want something entirely new?
Yep. I think people are just trying to find that fun merge in there. Like right now, Web3 does not have it yet, because of course what attracts us all gamers to traditional Web2 gaming is how fun the games are. So we develop this sense with this preciousness with our own assets. So we can clearly see that the idea of owning your assets and decentralization, it's quite popular right now with some of us, all the Web3 space people. Hence why it's very interesting to see how much money in the bear market was thrown into developing Web3 games. So that is an answer right there of how people in this space are feeling. But we definitely, and that's one of the things I love about Illuvium, that we're trying to like push the boundaries to get like real immersion, real gameplay, and that the ownership of assets comes like after you develop that attachment to it. Hence what they say, like, I want my GTA assets too. So I think
Makes
we're getting
sense.
there.
Yeah.
I think we're getting there. We're not there yet, but it's very exciting to see how it's panning out.
Let me ask a bonus question here then. In this diagram, they show in traditional gaming, the in-game assets are not interoperable. In Web3, they are. Then there's the value of currency locked inside the ecosystem. In Web3, it's not. You can trade it. And then there's the kind of third value of there's centralized governance in traditional gaming, and in Web3 gaming, there's decentralized governance. So out of these three, let's say, benefits or values, going to Charles, how would you order them? Interoperability, kind of being able to trade value, and governance. 1, 2, 3. How would you rank each of these as being valuable to the end user? What do you think the end user cares about the most to least in terms of those values?
I personally think the interoperability, the decentralized aspect, we don't know yet how well it will work or not. We'll see with a few years if the leading studio becomes those that are decentralized or not. And interoperability, like to actually be able to do real interoperability between games when it's super hard, like you actually need to adapt from one system to another, etc. So this might take some AI, and it's not what will come first. But the interoperability that could come is just connections through DeFi, and it's, for instance, you can sell your token from Fortnite because you could sell your asset from Fortnite, and then you can swap them to the token of GTA, and it's a Uniswap. So, well, the change will evolve depending the popularity of the game and the demand and supply of the token. So, I think Web2 Studio are really, really, really far from that, and I think it's something really appealing to players. Just this ability of getting back some of the assets you play in a game and just switching to another one and not starting from scratch or having to pay again. So that, I think that's the biggest thing coming, and that could really, this could really become viral. Like, hey, I've just moved to this game. You have an influencer. Just imagine Mr. Beast start his own game, and you can
Yeah.
forward your token from other game. Well, it'll deplete everybody. So this will happen. But of course,
That's a great point. So, so number one for you, interoperability. Number two, trading value. And number three, maybe a distant number three would be governance.
Yeah, well, the governance, it's really hard to know if it's going to work or not. I hope so. I think there's a big chance, but let's see what happens. Like right now, we don't have a studio that really competes with the big Web2 studios, right? So once we'll have somebody at that level, we'll see how it evolves. There are risks with decentralization. We see, for instance, how Maker is working and how complicated it is. But well, hopefully it's going to be the new model. I think there's the decentralization of the governance, but then there's also this like revenue kind of distribution, which is not necessarily combined. It's combined for Illuvium, and that's something really different. Also, is, let's say, if you are a gamer and you really like a studio, and if you're 14 or even if you're more, it might not be always easy to be exposed to the stocks of the game you like, depending where you live. While in a decentralized finance world, you could get the token for whatever game you're playing. And I remember, for instance, when I was a kid and the PlayStation 1 was out, well, Sony stock was going up. So in general, well, it's interesting to just assume that if you like something, the other will like it too. And well, I think the whole investment, the whole way of how people invest and just get yield could be a huge factor of the hype. And
That's a really good point. Yeah, a lot of new investors, not saying that any of this is an investment opportunity necessarily. A lot of new investors like to invest in what they know. So like, I wear Nikes, I invest in Nike. I watch Netflix, I invest in Netflix. It's it's an entry point, I think, for new investors, which is interesting. Maybe so for gamers. Icy, 1, 2, 3, real quick. What do you think? Interoperability, trading stuff, or governance? 1, 2, 3. What's most important?
I have like a contrarian viewpoint. I don't think that we've seen either of those use cases really proved out yet. So I think that we're a little too early to talk about it. So I don't love this. The way that I think about Web3, the way that I like to think about it is that it's just a fundamental shift between the relationship between the publishers and the gamers, where it's a more equitable relationship. So that's what excites me about it. But like, to me, like, interoperability still seems a bit like a meme. I don't see us like pushing that forward just yet. I mean, look at what Fortnite is doing with their creator program, and
It's
like
remarkable.
all the things coming out of there. Like, that's like interoperability if we're talking about that stuff, bringing other IPs into games and stuff. And Web3 games just aren't there yet. I do really like the idea of DAO governance. There's a few Web3 games that I participate in the DAO governance, and the gamers having a say is really great. But I don't think that most gamers really care about that. I think that they're just playing the game and having fun. Although they do care about that when they want their voice heard, when they want to give feedback, and they go on, a game publisher's forum and then just get crickets back. So that's exciting, but like the majority of gamers don't care about that. And then like the in-game currencies and stuff like that, you know, so far in Web3, it's been so speculative. It's created
been mostly a bust. Let's be honest. It's been mostly a bust. In-game currencies or in-game token yield has been mostly a bust so far.
Yeah. So I don't love this slide. I don't love those like 3 points. That's not what I'm championing for like Web3 games. Like, look at these things. No, it's just digital property rights. And it's gamers having a say and gamers having, you know, ownership and autonomy over what they do in their games.
Got it. 1, 2, 3. What do they care about, Thulki? You know better than us. You listen to these freaking people all day for a living. What do they like?
Oh my God. Of course, it's always. I cannot say anymore that these guys have not already said, because they have not got in depth. Any of these points have not got in depth enough for us to what people like really care. But I will go. Interoperability, in-game currency, and decentralized governance. What I know, I would personally, for me, DAO goes first, but I know that that is not what most people really care about, because there's always like a loud minority in our governance, which I love, and
that you have to deal with together. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But the panel just raised a very interesting point, because when you keep that window open, even though it's not people don't engage that much 24/7 and don't really care about it, when things really happen and there is a big change, people start flooding into governance, and then hence then they feel hurt. There's a lot of people that the small portion of people that are there 24/7, like put their points forward, they keep other people informed. So it does generate a very interesting share of knowledge about what we're all doing, and checks and balances when we have this this open opportunity. That's why, like, personally for me, it's definitely governance, one of the things that I'm most excited about, because it's a new disruptive model in the industry. That's for me one of the things that attract me the most about this, you know. So we change incentives in how game developing is done. So, you know, so you have a way more say on the players that are and the community that are the actual ones that bring in the money. So
got it. That makes sense. So there's differing opinions here on what matters. And I agree. I personally agree with the sentiment that we don't really know, but I would go with interoperability number one. And my reasoning is interoperability brings new, cool, interesting game experiences to people. That's what they actually want. All the money and the ownership and the decision-making as a side dish, in my opinion. Gamers want to play great games and have amazing experiences. And if interoperability enhances those experiences in a meaningful way that takes maybe their fatigue over their current game genre and makes the game deeper or more interesting or never seen this before, that will drive the most interest and the most adoption, in my opinion. Everything else is secondary. Just my personal opinion. Thank you for sharing yours. Now, there's these buzzwords, boys. Let me pull these buzzwords up on the screen. You ready? We went from play to... This is a really good little slide, actually. I really liked this slide.
Yeah,
the evolution of the models, right? Yeah. Play to earn with Axie Infinity over here. Then... I feel like this is kind of the evolution of man diagram almost. We went from like monkey to play and earn. And then we went from, to move to earn with Steppen, I guess. Then play to own. And then evidently there's this new free to own thing here now. That's the next frontier of blockchain gaming. Let me read free to own to you guys. I'm learning about this now, evidently from this report. Free to own is the next frontier of blockchain gaming, spearheaded by Limit Break, that wants to drive mass adoption of blockchain games by removing all financial barriers to access. And they have gated NFTs that must be rented or purchased. Okay, so it's a renting or purchase system, and it's a free mint for some of their NFTs. And it's basically the economy is based on trading royalties rather than high mint fees. So, panel, I want to ask, with this progression here that we're seeing on the screen, is this the right way to think about the progression in the space? And here's the question I want to to ask, and let's go ahead and go with Thulke first. Is this the progression you actually see happening in the industry? And then if so, what's beyond free to own? Is that like the end game model that everybody's going to do? Thulke, what are your thoughts here, buddy?
Truly, I think it's all shenanigans. We're trying to, yeah, sorry. We're trying to, yeah, we just saw our evolution of the failed models in the past, but none of that, if I like read quickly enough, like says great immersive games. So we're talking about owning of assets. You just talked about the exact same thing. Why you think interoperability is the best to give players experience. That is the value of our industry. It's and sure we can move to all these models, but that thing comes after. I don't think this should be the true evolution. The true evolution is what we're seeing, like literally like little Axie Infinity type of games that look from the 90s. So now we need to reach games that look like 2020s games. That's my personal opinion. The rest of free to own, there is a new concept every 3 months. So
got it. So everybody, so in your opinion, it's undecided. So let me kick it over to Charles then. What are your thoughts on that progression? The play to earn to free to own. Is this it? Are we there, man? Are we at the finish line? It's going to be free to own. It's like free to play, but you own stuff.
No.
Is that end game for this space? What are your thoughts, man?
So I never heard of free to own before. I don't think there's anything free. If you don't know where something come from, like if you don't know where the yield come from, you're the yield. If something is minted for free, it's just taking from those who paid in some form, right? So
good point.
I think what the players have been wanting forever is just to be able to play and own. And that's what they didn't have, right? The play angle was always there. Earn, if you earn, it will become a job. So it's something else. And it exists, and I'll touch on that. But the play and own is, if you look at those Diablo accounts that were sold, or the Pokemon Go account that were sold, well, that's, you sell the full account because you don't really have a way to sell part of it, right? You would be able to sell one specific Pokemon or whatever. You don't have this option, so player have been looking for solution. So this will work. Like, people want to just own and be able to do whatever they want with whatever they have in the game. So it's going to be play and own, which is very similar to what you had, but actually would be play and own and share, because you would own whatever you have in Fortnite. You would just not be able to transfer it. So it would be more play and own and transfer. But then
hit pause really quick. So help me understand why you made a distinction between play to own and play and own.
If you
why is there a distinction there?
It mean, like, the idea of play to earn was you would play to earn, right? The reason why you're playing is to earn, which, well, when you look at the game and it's not fun, well, it just work, right? So you'll work to have an income. That's what they were doing a lot in the Philippines. Nobody was really enjoying Axie, or a very small minority was, but they would work on Axie because it was just generating money. Now, there are model for play to earn that exist. For instance, in China, you got companies that dedicate themselves of basically they provide good players to low income good players to rich, let's say, player with either less friends or less skills, and they'll help you do raids, etc. So there is an economy that already exists that will increase as the GameFi ecosystem builds, and you will have people that will play to earn, but not through tokenomics, just through people willing to pay you so you play with them, or that kind of thing. But what we're really focusing here, to me, is you play first, then you own, and then there's nothing that crazy. I own all my Pokemon in Pokemon Go, but then you own them to the point that you can also sell and transfer, and which was the part which was missing, and I think will be the game changer here.
Got it. That makes sense. Icy, what are your thoughts then? Are you all in on free to own? What do you think?
I mean, I think, like, taking a step back, right? That little progression evolution, it talks about GameFi, and really it's just recapping the narratives that we've seen in Web3 gaming, and I've participated in all of them. And I think the problem is that term GameFi. Like the early innings of Web3 gaming was about the financialization of these games. Play to earn. Okay, that doesn't work. It's not sustainable. Now play to own. Like you're gonna, play the game and you'll own your assets. Move to earn. All this stuff. And it turns out that gamers like don't want to think about the finances in these games. They just want to play fun games, and that's kind of why we've had so much of this negative stigma. Now
I
we've
see.
seen,
So you guys both mentioned that. Hit pause really quick. So it's sort of like is this basically just the idea that like people ultimately didn't want to work a job that was just branded as a video game, and they kind of saw through it quickly, and it was it didn't fulfill any sort of new untapped need. Would you agree with that statement?
For sure. Yeah, that was certainly the case. And it was like, the cryptoification of games, right? We had this like huge surge of DeFi and DeFi summer, and it seemed to like find product market fit, decentralized finance. And then they tried to, like paste that on to gaming. Because what better way to own, digital assets than in gaming? But the result was it just didn't work. And it wasn't fun. These games weren't good. They weren't fun. And also the models were not sustainable. So we've seen a shift over the past 2 years in Web3 gaming from like, okay, let's kind of like remove the financial aspects out of these games a bit. Let's not market them as ways to, replace your job or replace your income or get rich quick. Like, hey, here's a crazy idea. Let's make a really awesome, fun game. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but like that's
really hard. Like that's really hard. Like
for sure.
98 out of 100 games are not fun and they fail. That sounds really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what we're seeing with like the free to own model and all these things, they're just marketing tactics. It's the new meta right now. Limit Break came out with their free mint. And then like a month later, those that collection was worth like 13 ETH or something like that. So I think that's a really interesting concept, from a marketing standpoint of like, and we're seeing a lot of it right now with all these free mints. I just free minted Shrapnel. I free minted Planet Mojo. If you got a free mint going on, let me know if I can get in. I want to mint in your game because that's, the first step for me right now of getting exposed to, some of these games that I'm not familiar with or maybe don't have access to, that I can now get this character in your game that I can go play with. I know that some people are like selling, those mints, which is great. Like if you can get access and, get a $30 character and then sell it on the marketplace, like that's cool too. You're still going to have a really positive experience with that brand, with that game, with that company. Maybe you come back later. But for me, like I'm a gamer, so I want to play these games with those assets. So I think the free mint strategy is really interesting. And I think that, whatever reduces barriers to entry is really good for the space.
I love the free mint concept myself, and it's not a new idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is something that Pokemon used and Magic used to get their cards out there pre all of this. And they did promo cards and promo packs, and they went to card shops and guerrilla marketing, be like, "Do you want these free cards?" Be like, "I've never heard of this game, but okay." And then you open them up, and anyway, those cards are worth hundreds of dollars now. But they just gave you the cards for free. They did it actually just recently. Pokemon TCG does this every holiday. Go to your local card shop on Halloween. The card shop guy's going to hand you a little Pikachu card, hollow, shiny, with Pikachu holding a pumpkin. They still do it, and it works. It's the whole free mint strategy is a great marketing tactic. Go ahead.
So I don't know if you can show like the ranking of the 20 games, because we say gamers. I guess most people that play, Skyrim could call themselves gamer. I don't think people that play Candy Crush would call themselves gamer. When you look at that list, so let's ignore Illuvium, but you just go down. It's all Nintendo, Super Nintendo level.
Yeah.
Some are worse. It's like just cards, and it's like, the kind of game you would find on the game store that you would not download, and like the kind of publicity you would keep receiving. So
Right.
all those games are just still a disaster, right? Including Decentraland. And And I think that it just tells a lot also about the field itself, because the reality is, all this decentralization it's really nice, but the reality is that there are very, very, very few real challenger to the Web3 games, right?
To the Web 2, you mean? Like when we
sorry,
look
to
at
the
this
Web 2.
list, you don't feel that there are almost any names here on this list that
I'm
actually
looking at the
challenge Web 2
picture.
games.
Just look at the picture. I'm not looking at the name. You just look at the picture you see there.
Right.
And you go back pre-DeFi or pre-Axie, and you say, which one of those games do you want to play? And none. Like, well, Illuvium
None of
is
these.
the game.
No, it's
Illuvium
true.
looks
It's
better.
true.
Some are like nostalgic, like DeFi Kingdom. Oh, it looks like, Secret
Right.
of Mana or Final Fantasy V.
Right.
But it's like they would have no chance in a Web 2 world. And I think it's just show how early everything is. And then something we seen, I think it was last weekend, is what other side did, right? I'll touch very quickly on that. You'll be all more informed on this. So the first time I saw the other side, so it was in Cercle Crypto, the French podcast I was looking, and they were showing the video of when they went there. It was insane, right? You saw all those people, like thousands of people doing a lot of things. But then it was mentioned that they use the Improbable technology. And if you go on the Improbable website, you'll see that actually they did everything. Like on the Improbable website, you have a video where you see many other games that look exactly like the ape, but with more kind of movement, etc.
Yeah, it was basically an improbable tech demo that they ran on their avenues.
Which means that, again, basically nobody's really developing something that makes sense, or at least able to show something now, right? So Illuvium did show a lot. So that's, well, I kind of like it, an opinion on my own. But all the rest is like we're discussing if Final Fantasy and Skyrim and Fallout and whatever are competing with some game card that we would not have touched a few months back. So I'll stop there, but I'm interested to have your opinion. I know you might be just invested in some of those games, and maybe I see. But being honest, like the issue is not GameFi or the term, etc. The issue is that it's most are just scam looking or very cheap, and we're very far from what it can become. And well, I'll stop there again.
Yeah, because it takes time.
Well,
yeah, Thulke, what are your? Oh, go ahead. I see. I want to hear what you think. Let's address that question. Then
Well,
the question is, of these top 20 games here, Cointelegraph, they looked at everything, and these are the best games that they can find. So let me ask you then, Icy, are these games good enough to get Web3 out in the mainstream, man? Is this what we need right here?
Let's be clear. This list is terrible. I don't know. And shout out to Cointelegraph. I really like them. They were a media partner for the Gamers' Choice Awards. They put out great work. This whole report is fantastic. This report is incredible. Like it's like you said, Andrew, it's 45 pages, but I don't know where they found these 20 games. I don't know half the games on this list. There's a few, obviously, Illuvium, Decentraland, Gods Unchained, like does some really cool stuff in the space. But like, I don't know where they put this list. Like, where's like Blankos? Where's Superior? Where's Metalcore? Where's My Pet Hooligan or EV.io? There's so many. Where's Shrapnel? Like, there's so many better representations of what Web3 gaming is trying to do, and incredible games that are being built in Web3. I don't know why they included the games that they included on that top 20 list, but that's a horrible representation, overall speaking, of the space. Because yeah, it does speak to that GameFi monetization, play to earn aspect that we've moved away from. There's way better games out there now.
Geez, hot take. They should call you spicy.
Hey.
All right, Thulke, what do you think about the top 20 list here? Obviously you're very biased for Illuvium, so let's put Illuvium aside. The other titles that are in the top 20, is this a roster that's strong enough to support the industry, or do we need like 20 more Illuvium caliber titles on this list to start cooking here? What do you think, Thulke?
First of all, I wouldn't have put Illuvium in there because it's not a game yet. It's like it's developing. So
it's in beta status, right?
It's in beta status. So it's a whole core what what everyone's been saying. It's because it takes in my personal experience, I do like operations a lot. So I do the base to base, like build from 0 to 100. What most of us don't understand is like, how do you build? Because I have no idea how to build a video game. I'm not a dev, but it takes time. I have talked to them over these past couple of years in the Illuvium ecosystem. I've talked to a lot of devs, like Spanish speaking ones, and they started you talk to Grant a lot. They started telling you how do you make assets, the amount of assets that you make, how long it takes to develop an asset. So Web 2 has been developing these huge game studios that have hundreds of people working on assets and on cool looking immersive games. And like Web3 is not really, it's not like magic. That we try to take it. It's just like, oh, Web3 magic is this new technology that's going to make like the best games ever. They still need to be developed like step by step with like real depths and real stuff. And that's what we're seeing. So we're seeing like opportunities, financial opportunities for little studios. That's like really good. So they're trying to push anything they can out to develop
Well, it's
their
much
games or
faster
their
to build a
project.
2D pixel game than it is to make something AAA.
Yep.
Obviously, like anybody, you can make a 2D pixel game in like a year, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But the good thing that Web3 is giving you like a reach out, like to wall round, to kind of like crowd fund for your idea and for your game, and to appeal to a lot of people using tokenomics and tokenization. So we get behind the idea, but they still need to take the same amount of time. So I could be like, okay, hey, yeah, I'm gonna build the new Skyrim in Web3. It'll be 2 years. Yeah, sure. It's
Yeah,
things
how
take
how
time.
is the Web 3 version going to take 2 years when the Web 2 version took 6, 7, 8 years, depending on where
Exactly.
you calculate early development? That makes sense. I have to ask the next question then, and Charles brought it up. There's let's say more hype titles. Let's say organizations like Other Side Metaverse, for example. Just honestly, let's be honest. Very good at marketing. They are excellent at marketing and getting people's attention and what have you. Obviously, their trailer on the game site doesn't really have anything about the game in it, but and some points were brought up on a moment ago about how the recent demos they showed were just a generic improbable engine demo. But in any case, they're very good at sales and marketing. There's also recent hype titles such as Dead Drop, which you can play the beta of right now, Dr. Disrespect's game. And it's $25 basically to get early access, essentially. And it's got a big creator behind it who does have game development experience. The reason why I wanted to bring up these are the hype titles of the day, let's say, the popular titles of today that people are talking about and covering. Are these titles bigger names with bigger marketing and sales and influence behind them? Are these the titles of the future? I mean, they've proven that they can get people's attention, right? Ever heard of, if you're asking anybody, have you ever heard of NFTs? Of course, they've heard of this franchise. And anyone that's ever watched a gaming live stream, they've heard of Dr. Disrespect. So, are titles like this that have the great sales and marketing, are they stronger horses in the race than maybe some of the other, let's call them lower quality games were in the top 20 list? Icy, I want you to take that first.
Yeah, absolutely, 1000%. I do think Illuvium deserves to be on the list, on the top 20 list. I think and I'm not saying that because I'm on, this show. When I played private beta, like that was awesome. It was such a great experience, and I think that the ambition of what Illuvium's trying to build is fantastic, and you guys are doing it the right way.
I didn't pay him off to say that, by the way. I would, if he would accept it, I would pay him.
But 1000%, Dead Drop just had their Snapshot 5 reveal. They hosted a big live event in Texas, and they live streamed it to 30,000 people. And they had all sorts of, Web 2 streamers playing the game. And like no one was talking about NFTs. No one was talking about GameFi. No one was talking about free to own, play to earn, play to own. None of that.
It was about the game.
They were just playing an extraction shooter and having fun. And we've seen people, continuously stream it. People are hosting their own tournaments right now. Shout out to Bryson. So yeah, absolutely. Those are the horses to bet on because they're actually building good games. Now, will the other side develop a good game? That remains to be seen. But to your point, Andrew, yeah, they're great at marketing. They've got a massive IP. They've got a whole bunch of funding. So, and I do like the way that they've been building in public and sharing these little snapshots. And we'll see how that plays out for them.
Okay, fair enough. Thulke, what are your thoughts? IPs like that. So really, the deeper question I guess I'm bringing up here is sales and marketing obviously matters, right? And I've brought up this example before, like Rich Dad Poor Dad. He jokes about his number one best-selling book, finance book of all time, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He says, look, I'm not the best writing author, for sure. I'm a terrible writer, but I am the best-selling author. And so therefore, his finance book was the number one bestseller. And ultimately, your game just needs to be the number one bestseller. You want the most users, right? That's how you win in gaming. So these IPs that are really good at marketing and sales, do you think they have a much better shot? Thulke, curious to know what you think.
I don't, because it is important if you're confident enough in your product. You did say the Rich Dad Poor Dad example on it. He's not the best writer, but he has like a very interesting concept behind it, and it's put in easy to understand what. So I do understand how it became a bestseller, and he could market it well. But in financial terms that everyone could understand and get behind. But it was a solid product. If you don't have a solid,
so you need some kind of competent product on the back end.
Not some kind. You need a competent product. I told you already. I'm an operations person. If you don't have your basics, your fundamentals built strong, the rest can go in smoke. There's so much marketing can take you at a point. Of course, it's an extremely important tool to like pull more people in. But yeah, if you pull a lot of people in and the thing that you're offering has no substance behind it, that's it. You're not gonna retain those players. You'll grab them but won't retain them. On the specific on the other side, now that it's very interesting, I like the part that they brought all these like NFT projects in it. The concept is very bring your avatars in the games is kind of cool. I did try to read the light paper, and I don't know, I don't truly understand it. It's kind of weird, and it makes me made me realize
thumbs down from you. That's a big thumbs down.
And no, it made me realize something that an econ professor always told me, like back in the days. He told me, like, when you don't know and you don't understand, just confuse them. Just start throwing a lot of terms, a lot of things, and just make it. That's how it feels to me. A lot of things I read. And the best thing are just like straightforward. As Icy was saying, you got a great game that people are enjoying. You don't need to explain free to play tokenomics. You don't need to explain this and that. And you can in normal, easy to understand ways. So when you start going I get very suspicious when it's like start getting super complicated. So
keep it simple, stupid, they say, and that's worked for a long time. Charles, I'm curious to know.
Sorry that I will say that. Like the smartest persons in the planet that understand everything are the ones that make very complicated things seem very simple. Explain it to you very simple. Those are the smartest people.
Yeah, it means they have the highest level of comprehension. Okay, Charles, I'm curious to know what you think.
Yeah, so
are these projects? I mean, these guys, they've brought in millions or hundreds of millions of dollars just through marketing. I mean, that's not nothing. So do you think that really matters, Charles?
It really matters. So I think there's a very big chance we go toward an influencer economy. And yes, you need a good product. So I think the first time the Mr. Beast burger went out, it was not good. It didn't work. Then he just got a good product. And now it's a big success. And that kind of new type of brand development is likely to explode, as everybody wants to be an influencer in, or look at influencer in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, etc. So
Are you referring to like Mr. Beast Burgers, his like burger franchise? Was that, I'm sorry, are you referring to something else?
Is that an NFT project? Where do I buy it?
So the thing is, I think the fellowship is extremely important, and there have been good games. Like we all have some old games that we really like and things that were really good. Like for instance, for me, Xenogears, they were excellent, but they could not get the fellowship somehow, and they didn't have the right support, and well, they just slowly died. And it's just huge in an influencer economy. So what the ape did is very similar to that, right? They have a crazy fellowship. They're excellent at marketing, as you were saying, and also they just know how to reward their fellowship, which most of the NFT group didn't do, right? If you had an ape, then you get option, you get a mutant, you get like drops and different free mints, etc. Which, for instance, well, games we know very well here didn't do, right? You could have buy land, you would not get the next anything from the next one, etc. So now you get to a point where for brands like that, basically people know that if they buy and participate, well, they'll be rewarded in the long run, and we'll see how long it can last. But I think it could last. So then, thinking that once you got this founding, because they got, as you said, a lot of money, and this fellowship, that they will not be able to get the right product. It's possible, but it's unlikely. And I think, well, the example I just mentioned before is a perfect example. When you get the fellowship, when you get the money, you will have really good option coming to you. Now, if you're able to, like cut through the bad one and select the right one is a different topic. And one another point I wanted to touch on, I disagree with the time it takes to do game. Not now, but next month, next year. AI and the possibility to just have part of the done pre-made for you. Like you got 3D models that can be done in a very different way, in a much faster manner with existing technology and with GPT-4 and some other things. The way developing will change. It's combined with an influencer economy can be drastic.
Got it. So you can create a game faster and maybe even higher quality. And then if you get the right influence behind it, online influence, that's the rocket fuel your project needs. I wanted to bring up an example. Let me know if you think this is a dumb example to kind of further this point. It's this one right here. Ever heard of it? Dogecoin. People have crapped all over it, of course, and said it's got no utility. It's garbage. It's whatever. It's really good at marketing and it's viral and people love it. And it didn't go to zero yet. So it's kind of like the power of online influence and the power of memes and what have you can power a giant multi-billion-dollar quote unquote useless token, right? So
that's not what I meant, right?
I know that's not what you meant. No, but I think that's the extreme other end of the that's not what you meant, but
they don't have even marketing, right? It's kind of built alone, right? So Shiba, they have that, but Doge was kind of a leftover project that somehow could get life through hype and then some very important people that accidentally went behind them.
It's just an example, I think, of if the internet decides to take hold of something, it can run with it, even if the underlying product is, I don't know, right? And so that's so interesting in the age of influence, memes, and virality. So in cultural phenomenon, and maybe another side metaverse or whatever could become one of those things, and then just latch on, even if the product is mediocre, right? Not saying that it is. We've got another amazing topic that I want to cover with you guys, and we have to end by the end of the hour. So really quick, we've got to pay the bills by running this advertisement from our sponsor, Illuvium. Thank you, Illuvium. We'll be right back. Give these guests a moment to take a break, and we'll be right back to talk about the IMX and Polygon partnership. Is it the biggest thing to ever happen in gaming, or is it a nothing burger? We'll answer that question in 15 minutes flat.
Illuvium Beyond is a collectible card game that combines stunning visuals and competitive fun. IlluviTars are creative, hand-drawn versions of our Illuvials that exist beyond the Illuvium Universe. IlluviTars have distinct expressions, backgrounds, accessories, and finishes that differ in rarity and determine their power rating. IlluviTars and accessories are sold in two types of discs, Standard and Mega, with the latter containing a guaranteed rare Illuvitar. You can load your disc immediately, save it, trade it, or sell it. IlluviTars are sold in waves, with ultra-rare, highly sought-after alphas kicking off each wave in a time-limited sale. Permanently bond accessories to your Illuvitar to boost its power rating with 5 slots: skin, body, eyes, head, and props. There are billions of potential combinations, so you can make your Illuvitar one of a kind. The hub is a central location to manage your assets, browse the marketplace, and track your progress. Here, you will find the IlluviTars album, where you can gain points by placing your IlluviTars inside sleeves to complete collections and achieve milestones. Climb the leaderboard by stacking album points and rank up from bronze to diamond to earn exclusive borders for your IlluviTars. Unleash your competitive nature and don't miss out on the most eye-popping and addictive collection game of all time. Go to illuvium.io/IlluviTars to learn more.
This guy right here was dancing the whole time. I was watching him in the green room.
I was vibing out. That's,
Guys,
that's how you make a commercial.
thank you. Somebody give me a raise. Gimme. Go ahead and check it out.
Some
Illuvium.
production there.
Thank you. Illuvium.io/IlluviTars. Go check it out. We're really proud of what we've done with Illuvium Beyond so far. We're almost to 100,000 discs sold. Over 5,000 people have purchased IlluviTars. We're so excited about just everybody getting their hands on these hand-drawn versions of our Illuvials. We're really proud of it. So thank you to Illuvium for sponsoring this show. All right, let's talk about the big headline, our finisher here. And I want to just quickly cover it for everybody who's not already familiar. If you didn't already know, friends, there's a game-changing partnership. Good marketing by Immutable on this, by the way. Where Immutable and Polygon teamed up. And they basically, I'm not going to go over every detail of it, but it's going to make it so that it's going to unlock ZK EVM, and it's going to basically take two of the largest kind of gaming NFT ecosystems, layer 2 Ethereum ecosystems, and bring them together in multiple ways from a technical standpoint to hopefully gain more market dominance. And I'm just going to kind of skip to showing this here, guys. So this is NFT trade volume by chain, and this is something I wanted to highlight so everybody can see. The market right now is super fascinating when you look at this trade volume. This is in terms of dollars. This big old bar down here at the bottom, this is Ethereum. And if you go, this pink thing is Solana. Number 3 is Polygon, and number 4 is Immutable. So number 1 in terms of trade volume, in terms of NFTs, is Ethereum. Number 3 is Polygon. Number 4 is Immutable. And now number 3 and number 4 have combined forces to basically, in my opinion, I think this is asserting ETH dominance and ETH layer 2 dominance with these two partners coming together. But I want to know what you guys think. Charles, I'm really interested to know what your thoughts are on partnership announcements like this. Have you ever been on Twitter and followed an NFT project, Charles, or a blockchain project? They've got their logo, X, another logo in their Twitter feed 20 times a day. So is this partnership the real deal, or is it a nothing burger?
It's hard to say. What I know is that there are several game founders that I was speaking with that were looking to potentially move from Immutable to Polygon, and we've seen how many, kind of agreement and new project Polygon did. So it feels like Polygon is really on a spree to do as many partnership as possible. I think Immutable is just one more. I could be wrong. There have been some report recently. I remember the Circle also was speaking about that, on how the transaction on Immutable might not be as it seems. And it seems that a lot are not done by the users. I don't know if you saw this one, but Polygon is
Yeah,
definitely
I saw speculation about like trade volume bloat or something like that at some
I
point.
didn't read really deep,
I
but
didn't see those claims be substantiated, so I put it in the FUD category. I don't know if it was substantiated. Let me know, but to me it seemed
I didn't dive
fuddy.
enough. To me, it didn't seem like totally wrong. There are something of Immutable that to me are not ideal, like for instance how they increase their fee. Well, I think they did that to Illuvium. So when you got a big partner and suddenly they just, I think it went from 2 to 3%. Well, it's an increase of 50%. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence in how stable as a partner they can be. And again, most of the founders that I know were kind of looking out. Now, Polygon is on the exact opposite trend, right? They are really expanding. They're really pushing. They started just as a side chain. They bought Hermes. Now they have a real ZK coming. They want to become some type of Cosmos on top of Ethereum. It makes a lot of sense. We'll see if they succeed to achieve this vision. Now, based on the question we've seen before, I think most EOS is another relic of the past, right?
This chart, by the way, is so wrong. Immutable has more than 2,300 unique wallets. Like Illuvium Beyond had 5,000 on Immutable. So this chart's kind of bogus. But please continue.
Not just that. I think one of the question you had was if how we think those as a chain can survive in an ETH dominant world. The first thing I and it's just my opinion again, but I don't see any chain or blockchain that does something new, right? So for instance, here we'll look at NFT and Solana NFT. Yeah, well, they all copied something that just took off on Ethereum, right? So which one are the chain that actually do something really new? Well, it's ZK, all the roll-up etc. For now, it's mostly on Ethereum. So I think most of the other chain, including Solana, Avalanche, etc., would probably have to evolve as an L2 at some point, or just disappear, like so many before. EOS, Polkadot is not looking great; it's not even on that list anymore. So, yeah, I don't think. I think it's interesting news. I think it's great for Polygon. I don't think there's a lot of information also on how they actually partner. The feeling, and based on what I read, it's Immutable will use Polygon, and they'll continue to use, I think it's Starkware. So they basically have two different ways to do what they do, but it's not Polygon really doing something with Immutable. Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't went very deep into that.
I am not I'm not that technical, so I don't know precisely how this is going to benefit Polygon, to be perfectly honest. So let me bring up the question to all of you then, or let me reframe the question then to Icy. Is this an ETH dominate world here? Is everything going to be on ETH or ETH layer 2s? So putting the technical aspects aside, it's all about the implementation and the adoption from users. So let's focus on that part, which we have data to support. Icy, do you see ETH and ETH layer 2s running away with this? Or do other players like Solana, Wax, Hive, and others have a chance to be the leaders in this space?
Yeah, it's a great question. It certainly seems that way, Andrew, right? What's the bankless comparison? It's like ETH is New York City. Ethereum's where it happens. That's kind of the future of decentralized, infrastructure, blockchain, and Polygon and Immutable. It makes a ton of sense for them to come together and double down and push that forward. As a gamer, like on one hand, this is like a nothing burger because like who cares? Like I don't care. I just want to play good games and have ownership over my assets. But I will say that like most of the games that I play or the chain that I use the most is Polygon. And like when I do giveaways and stuff with my community, I use Polygon because the gas fees are cheap. Some games I play on Polygon, that's just where my NFTs are. I love to see Immutable partnering with them. So on the other side, I will say that this is a big deal because it kind of gives them, that market dominance that you're talking about. and allows them to scale. I think the Immutable team is super competent and qualified and has been crushing it, as well as the Polygon team. So them coming together is great for Web3 gaming, because the part where it doesn't matter is we don't care about the underlying infrastructure, the underlying tech. We just, to your point, Andrew, we just want good experiences and new experiences or fun experiences. So games, go build great games and use whatever infrastructure tech, blockchains that allow your users to interact with your assets in a fun, easy, fast, cost expensive way. So I'm like a big fan of this, and I think it's going to be really, really good for Web3 gaming going forward.
What's word on the street, Dolkey? Do people care? Do people care about partnerships like this? Especially, like I remember in a bull market, anytime a partnership was announced, every YouTuber would poop their pants and put it in the thumbnail. Now that we're in a bear market, it seems to have no impact. So what's word on the street here? Do people care about partnerships like this, or do they just like, show me the games? What's the sentiment?
Show me the games. And like, thank God Charles said it, because like I don't really know what is the big change that's gonna happen in it, because I'm sort of not technical, and thank God that Charles said like I don't really know what it is, because I don't really know. But they're like two solid protocols, which I've used. So seems interesting. Hopefully something really good can come out of it. But bottom line, we just need fast, low fees, and secure. That's what we're excited for. So hopefully that comes along.
Okay, spicy question to end the episode here. And chat, I want you to weigh in on this spicy question. I'm going to put you on the spot and make you make a call. All right, so here's the spicy question. We'll start with Charles. We're really early, right, in this space. Just like with the internet, they were early. On social media, they were early. And there was always early players that end up being the BlackBerry, the Netscape, the MySpace of their era, where they're the leader, the Farmville, where they're the leader in their category, and then eventually they aren't. So let me ask you this. Here's the spicy question of the day, Charles. Is Ethereum the BlackBerry, Netscape, or whatever? Like, it's the leader right now. What are the probabilities, in your opinion, that it will get BlackBerried? Curious to know what you think about that.
Yeah, no, I think so. First, the first one is Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin will be BlackBerried more than Ethereum, and then
whoa, spicy take.
Oh yeah, well, you want the spice?
That was spicy.
Any argument that you can do for Bitcoin can now be done for Ethereum and more, right? Because before it was like there's 21 million, there'll never be more. Well, now Ethereum is deflationary, so and it has a utility, so it's actually used for something. It's just an agreement that it has value. So I think when there'll be a flippening, it could be massive, swap. But then, well, you mentioned Blueberry, there's Kodak, there are many, etc., Netscape. Well, there's also IBM, General Electrics, and those that started first, and
Xerox.
Well, Xerox is another one. But when I say IBM and General Electrics, I say more on how they started as leader and stayed leader for a very long time.
Oh, I see.
Not like today compared to the internet. So I don't think it's because you're the first that you're, the one that will die just because of that. They all had issue because of lack of adaptation. I don't see this issue. Like, I'm not married to any project. If there's something that make way more sense than Ethereum, I'll just say, well, this one is better than Ethereum. But right now, there's a lot of upgrades. There's a lot of things that were added that make a lot of sense. There's a lot of plan to develop in the right direction. And that's where you got the actual community that matters, because they would say, oh, on this chain, there's a lot of developers. But they're actually app developers that can switch very fast. Like they went from BSC to Solana to Aptos. The actual one able to develop advanced cryptography and new type of blockchain seems to be mostly on Ethereum. So I don't think Ethereum is going to die, if I had to say that now based on the information I have now. Not financial advice or anything like that.
None of this has been financial advice, just entertainment. Where can people find you on the internet if you want more ETH Maxi takes?
I'm on LinkedIn, mostly Shah Jansen. Just put my name, you'll find me.
There he is, and here he is on Twitter as well. I'm going to hit him up with a follow from the Illuvium account, and his LinkedIn is linked there. Charles, I love your I love you ending the episode with a spicy take, amigo. That was awesome. Thank you very much. Icy, what are your thoughts here, buddy? Are all of these chains we're looking at right now, are they blackberries and netscapes and we have yet to see the winner of the future? Or is the winner right in front of our eyes?
If I had to bet, I would agree with Charles. Ethereum is the New York City. It's the most decentralized. It has the most talented, smartest people building, developing on it, contributing to that project. It has the culture, right? Like, we all love Vitalik and meme Vitalik all day. So I wouldn't bet against Vitalik, but also, it's not about just Vitalik, right? It's about the decentralization and the Ethereum Foundation and what they've built. And we're seeing that. We're seeing, people build L2s on top of Ethereum. So I would agree. I think that Bitcoin was probably the Netscape and the MySpace of the space, and Ethereum is where the future of France is going to be. And we're seeing that with gaming, Polygon and Immutable. So.
God, this is so spicy, man. You guys are the first ones I've really talked to that are saying Bitcoin is going to be Netscaped. I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm shocked. Icy, where can people find you in this whole Web3 gamer thing?
Yeah, guys, I'm on Twitter all day, every day. Icy_gaming is my personal Twitter, but I also run the Web3 Gamer channel. If you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, get the latest news and chat and everything, at Web3 Gamer. Gamer with a 3, GAM.
Because we're cool. Because we're cool. Awesome. Spicy takes. Bitcoin going to get Netscaped, Ethereum going to get, I don't know, insert things that beat Netscape. Okay, Thulke, what are your thoughts on this? Are you also now an ETH maxi too? And what's your take on this?
Oh man, I don't know what you might call a maxi. I'm just like an ILV maxi, I guess. I use Ethereum. That's the main network I use, and I like it. And if I and as these guys say, if it's if I was a betting man, I will not bet against Ethereum right now, especially because I don't think it has reached the development peak. There's a lot of steps for the ETH network to be what they envision to be. So I don't think it has even reached that level where a industry leader that it can get overtaken. I like that there's a lot of other projects around it because, competition keeps you on your toes. But yeah, I'm not going to say anything against BTC. I do not own any Bitcoin though.
He's like, don't kill me. Don't kill me.
Please, BTC people, don't kill me.
Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Oh, Illuvium Discord, baby, and Twitter, if you so.
Clearly, boo. He's got the .eth right here. Boo. That's so biased. I'm going to follow your account. Perfect.
Well, that was a gift from a community member, from Vetmore, actually.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. That's what I got it. He says, you don't got a .eth Dominion? I was like, here. So.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I personally, I will disclose, I own Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think both are great. I'm going to withhold my opinions because you guys gave this spicy ETH world view. Anti-bit, you got me rethinking my my life decisions here. I love Bitcoin so much. Anyway,
just think on the lack of adaptation example that you gave, right? Like smart contract came, Bitcoin never changed.
That's so true. No, it's true. The utility on ETH, without question. You can't build video games on ETH. You couldn't, run the real estate contracts. You couldn't run an infrastructure to run the stock market. You can't really do anything on Bitcoin except for transfer money through Lightning Layer. That's about the only utility we've seen significant progress in.
But yeah.
So
you can't give Thulke a .btc address.
That's true. You can't. And look, on Twitter now, I'm Andrew Wall. I'm Andrew Wall.eth on Twitter, not .b2c. So it's the point, right? Not only does it have all this utility, it's also a part of our identity now on the internet. That people literally have their name as .eth. It's a part of your identity, and it shows which kind of tribe, if you will, you're rolling with. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it. And everybody watching, I'm going to boot you guys out of here. Thank you for joining. Everybody give a round of applause to our guests. They've been so fantastic. Great discussion, but we must get them out of here. They've all got important engagements to go take care of. Appreciate all of you guys watching IlluviTalks. And as always, I promise you that you'll learn at least 2 new things in every episode, and I guarantee you did. So put in the comment below what the most interesting insight was that you got out of this episode. I'm curious to know what you find best from the show, and I'll do more of that on future episodes. On that note, we're gonna head on out. I'm gonna kick up the Illuvium soundtrack music, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios, everybody. Bye-bye.